Um, Now, George, I'm just going to start at the top with a team who's struggled of recent. Max Verstappen hasn't won a race hasn't run a Grand Prix, sorry, in quite a while. There's something like 7 races or something like that, I think. But it seems that we've got kind of the old Red Bull back. They seem to have fixed up the car in some ways. Obviously there's a lot of scrutiny about the car right now with the bib height at the front of the car. Clearly the FIA is happy with it and they seem to agree going back in the right direction and correlating things with their wind tunnel again, which is obviously good for them, and it showed in Austin. Do you think the Drivers' Championship is over really, given this result? It was kind of teetering on possible, but given this result, do you think it's gone now for McLaren and Lando Norris?
Not so sure about completely gone, but it is close to the final nail in the coffin, really. I think with that, like Lando Norris said, it really knocks the wind out of his sails, that result. He needed to gain significantly on Max Verstappen every single weekend, and he lost points, finishing behind him in the sprint race, and then also after the penalty was applied as well in the actual Grand Prix itself. So he's lost a decent amount of points there. I think he needs to make up an average of like 11 points per weekend now to take the championship, and that's bordering on Lando Norris winning every race and then Max Verstappen finishing either third or fourth, which I think is a really big ask at the moment. And not so much from Max Verstappen finishing so far down relatively, because given the pace of Ferrari, I think it's definitely possible. But for Lando Norris to win every race is a huge ask. It really, really is. Max Verstappen hasn't won a Grand Prix race since Spain, and it seems as though Red Bull have got more on top of the car now. They seem like they've got it in a position where now Max is one of the fastest drivers and car combinations on the grid, or at least enough to get relatively consistent podiums, which is all that Max needs. That's all that Max needs. I say it's not over because we've still got 5 races to go, 5 Grand Prix races to go, that is, and 2 sprint races as well. A lot can happen in that time, and all it would take is for a retirement from Max, which, as we know, in places like Mexico, is definitely possible. And we've seen some really big pileups into the first corner. It's a long, long run into that first corner. Although saying that, I've been looking up the stats as well for the Mexican Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen has won it 5 times, the most successful driver in the history of the event by far. So this is one of his best circuits we're coming to. So it's not quite over. It's not quite over yet, but I feel like it's gonna need at least one retirement from Verstappen and Norris to win 3 of the last 5 races, which, given the reliability of the Red Bull and given Lando Norris's pace right now, it's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit like, yeah, McLaren sort of really need things to go. They need everything to go in their favour. They don't have I'd call it championships advantage. Sorry, champions advantage really, but it's not really. It's the fact that Red Bull did such good work in the early on in the season, as you say, that now Max Verstappen doesn't have to win every race. He can finish on the podium and just sort of slowly eke out the points advantage he's get, even if it's being eroded away. Yeah, to take him to that world championship.